watch Victor Wembanyama versus Nikola Jokic. Here's a matchup we want to see forever. Alan, this was worth the price of admission.
Absolutely was. A present MVP against a future MVP. Look at him stretch and make that finger roll. Look at his arm just reaching out. Go, gadget arms. That's an old reference, but...
Watch this play here. Watch that on Jokic.
How does he get that block? He covers so much ground, but keep an eye on him as the play continues.
Watch this go the other way. So first he's over there. He's going to get the rebound and put it back. Now, but stay with it. Stay with it. Jokic is not taking kindly to this.
Has to finish it with the dunk and a little grin afterwards because he knew he was coming. 20 years old. Look at these two. And you can tell Jokic really enjoyed this matchup.
Jokic had 42 and 16. Wembanyama had 23 points, 15 rebounds, 9 blocks, and 8 assists. And after he made this bucket here, the game was tied at 105. But in the final minute, it was Denver able to untie it. Christian Brown finding Michael Porter Jr. He knocks this down, and the Nuggets go on to win it 110 to 105. They're the best team. But Victor Wembanyama, how close do you think he could possibly be, Alan, at this point to being the best player?
The best player in the league?
The MVP of the league.
I think he's within a year or two. I think he's that close. It all is going to obviously depend on how the Spurs build around him. But think about just what he's doing since the All-Star break. 23 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 blocks. I had to look it up. Over the course of a season, the player who last averaged those numbers was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 1979. That's what we're talking about here. He came close to a quadruple-double in this game, which we haven't seen in the NBA since 1994. Remember what Russell Westbrook did with the triple-double, bringing that back to the game?
Yeah.
The quadruple-double might be called the Wemby when we're all done here, because he is the type of player that can do all of that, have that type of impact on the entire game, both ends of the floor. At 20 years old, we showed you a highlight that never stopped. He went from one end to the other, to the other, to the other. Yes, it ended with him getting dunked on, but the fact that he got back to cover that dunk attempt from Jokic tells you all you need to know about his impact at both ends of the floor.
Chiney, what are the things that you and Malika and company will be saying about him, not just on NBA today, but into the future? What are the right things to say about the limitless potential of this player?
Yeah, they call him the alien for a reason because his talents are extraterrestrial. And I have to disagree with Alan a little bit. Like 2 years to become the MVP, the thing that predicates most valuable player is winning. And I think the Spurs are more than 2 years away from winning in a meaningful way. But immediately when I saw the first few games from Wemby this season, I was like, this is a guy that will eat up literally every stat. And then the fact that we have him blocking Jokic 4 times in one game. This is the guy that a lot of people favor as the MVP. It's so far that he has moved so fast forward through his one rookie year campaign where he's been able to prove that he can go toe-to-toe with the best.
All right, so let's leave that one there for the moment because I have a lot of other things I want to get to. We can talk more about him as we go, but let's run the floor. LeBron James and the Lakers win yesterday. LeBron had 23. Lakers beat the Raptors. They've won 7 out of 8. Alan, are they a legit threat in the West?
They are if they can get the 7th seed. You don't want the 8th seed. They're still battling in the play-in. If they have to play the Denver Nuggets, it's not a good matchup. But OKC, Minnesota, if they have to play those two, much better matchup for them. But LeBron does not look like he's slowing down. Anthony Davis, to his credit, has played all season, been available, and this team's starting to find its form once again, just like they did last year.
I think they are dangerous. Is Golden State? They beat the Mavericks last night despite 57 from Luka and Kyrie. Golden State currently 10th in the West. Chiney, is this too little too late for Steph and company?
It absolutely is. If this were game 1 of the NBA season, you look at the stats, Steph Curry only a few points, 13 as you see there, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. You're like, wow, everyone, the supporting cast is stepping up, but unfortunately it's too late. They're trapped in the play-in.
And then let's get back to the Bucks. We talked about them a little earlier. They lose to the Wizards yesterday.
Wow.
In a game that Damian Lillard doesn't play. I mean, Alan, let's go right to the soundbite here so we can react to it, and then we'll talk. This was Doc Rivers. They've been particularly bad on the road, and they lose this inexcusable game. Listen to Doc afterwards.
We don't bring the necessary professionalism, seriousness on the road. And that's something that we can fix. That's something we're going to have to fix.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
We what? We don't bring what? I mean, this is a championship aspiring team.
It's not if that is true. And how do I take you seriously as the Milwaukee Bucks if that's what you're about? 18-20 on the road. You go into what? There's nobody in the building. It's empty. It's an open gym, basically. And you go in there and you just kind of like don't even give an effort. Give credit to the Wizards and Brian Keefe. They've done a great job trying to just keep something going in Washington where it's been despair for many years. But you got to be kidding me, even without Dame Lillard. And I just feel like what you're seeing there is not just barely over 500 with Doc as the coach, so nothing really has changed on that front. But Giannis gets a triple-double, plays outstanding. They really miss Drew Holiday. They're going to show. That's going to show in the playoffs. And if they get the wrong matchup in the first round, they could be out again in the first round.
Like, oh, by the way, Joel Embiid and the 76ers that we saw at the beginning of the show. Chiney, are the Bucks a legitimate threat in the East?
Unfortunately, no. And I'm someone that I'm like glass half full, but right now they are not because they're 1-6 when Dame Lillard does not play. They need both stars out there, but they also need better perimeter defense. They need better transition defense, and they will have to show up on the road. The biggest miracle is how they've been able to remain number 2 in the East, considering the ups and downs, the fluctuations of their play. I still think when you have 2 of the better players in the East on the floor, you have a chance. But right now, they put all their chips in on Dame Lillard, and unfortunately, that has opened up holes that they have had trouble to plug in.
Joel Embiid playing for the first time since January 30th. Sixers and Thunder. First quarter. What are you seeing from Embiid here, Alan Hahn?
I'm seeing Embiid moving well defensively and being an impact player right away in the minutes that he played for this team.
Tobias Harris knocks down the 3 on the other end. Embiid would play 29 minutes. This is just 4 minutes in. You can see, obviously, the fatigue is a factor, but he's
always tired, Greeny. He always looks tired, but then he gets the ball and he does a step-back jumper and he looks like himself again. That Don Joy brace, though, you see it right there, protecting that left knee, the meniscus surgery to get him back on the court.
He had 12 at the half. Now here we go. The Sixers trying to come back. They were down as many as 10. That's Kelly Oubre, who led the way with 25 points, gets the Sixers within 2. And then here's Embiid working in the mid-range, and they're right back in it.
Yeah, he just looks like himself offensively, that's for sure. And then obviously you also need him inside the paint, just getting it done here. Going up strong. Oklahoma City doesn't have the size to contend with him. Chet Holmgren, another rough night. See him land. All right, take a breath. All right, you got to get to the free throw line. He was 12 for 12, by the way, from the line.
Right.
Half his points at the line.
He made those 2 there, which were critical. And then the defense, he would make more foul shots there. Embiid finishes with 24 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. And the Sixers get a big win. They've got 6 games remaining. Let's see what he can do. Joel, talk to me.
It took a toll mentally. I just want to come back. I think we got a chance, even, at the level that I'm at, and I'm only going to get better. But, this one was probably the hardest by far, especially mentally.
But they have 6 games remaining in the regular season. Chiney Ogwumike up with us as well this morning. I'm just cutting directly to the chase this time, Chiney. I'm not dancing around the question. With a healthy Joel Embiid, are the Sixers the biggest threat to the ridiculously dominant Celtics in the Eastern Conference?
Woo! Don't dance around it. I'm going to give you a straight answer. No, because that is a big if Joel Embiid is able to return back to form. But I will say this. Embiid coming back with a handful of games left is forcing sleepless nights all across the East. It doesn't matter if you're the Celtics or the Bucks or the Knicks. The biggest issue last night versus OKC was his stamina. My guy was tired, but his impact remains intact. Without his legs, he still gives you 24-6 and 7 assists. He still gives you defense at the rim. He still gives you free throws in the clutch. What will he look like after their remaining 6 games? The answer is a problem, but right now, the Sixers still have a lot to piece together in order to contend with the league's best record in the Celtics.
Yeah, I mean, most of the East is not very good. They're all the same, right? It's the Celtics are head and shoulders above. So a threat to the Celtics, no. However, if the Sixers get a good first-round matchup for them, that's more games that you can buy for him. The more games that they play, the more condition he'll get into, the better things will go. If they can stay out of the Celtics bracket, and then they can find their way to the conference finals some way, somehow with the matchups. Because Tyrese Maxey, who didn't play last night, is much better when he's got Embiid on the court. They've added pieces that Embiid was gone. They added these pieces that will make them better. So the more they play, the better it'll be for him to get into shape. And then maybe by the conference finals, they could be a threat.
Well, the path you're describing is sitting right there for them. They figure to be in the 7-8 game in the play-in. If they win that game, that's a one-game scenario to be the 7 seed, which means you get Milwaukee in the first round and you're on the other half of the draw from Boston.
Yes, or Cleveland. And it's set up for them. If you look at the remaining schedule that they have the easiest remaining strength of schedule strength compared to any other team in the East. They are not playing tough teams. The next game, that's the tough one. They play the Heat on Thursday. But look at it. Even though it's on the road, at Grizzlies, you should win that game. Spurs have played better. It is on the road, but still should win that game. Pistons, not even trying. Magic, that's a tough one, but they might be locked into their spot. And then Brooklyn, again, not even trying. These are games that are winnable that could get them right where they need to be.
By the way, someone just drew this to my attention this morning, and it is worth saying on the air because it's so remarkable. The Celtics have a 12-game lead between first and second place in the Eastern Conference. That is larger than the margin from first place to 10th place in the Western Conference. That's how ridiculously dominant the Celtics have been. So, Chiney, at the end of the day, is everyone just playing for second place in the East anyway?
Oh, absolutely. Because I've always said that the Celtics' greatest competition is the Celtics. The standard is for them to win a championship. They have improved based off of the 2 years ago being in the finals and even last year's squad. And so everyone is playing for second place. But the thing is, if there's one team that really lacks a little bit of confidence, that plays a little bit too cool for school, it is the Celtics, but their expectation is to make sure that league best record delivers them to the finals.